Hello, my dear friends. I am Stanislav Shamayev, a licensed business immigration and corporate attorney in Miami, Florida. Today, we're going to be discussing a very important visa for extraordinary people. In other words, visa for talented people, EB-1A. At the end of this video, you'll be able to learn how to get a free analysis of your case. Let's go. Alright, if you guys follow me on YouTube, on my Instagram, which you should subscribe to, or on my TikTok, you know that I do only two types of immigration work, and that is a business immigration and talent visas. Today we're going to be talking about visa EB-1A, which is one of my favorite visas, and I'm going to tell you the criteria for this visa. I'm going to tell you some insights about this program, the process, and how we're going to get you to the final point. I noticed that almost 50% of you who watch my YouTube videos are not subscribed to my YouTube channel. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, smash that like button, and of course comment and write the questions which I'm gonna reply to. This is gonna be a rather long video, so make yourself comfortable and prepare for a lot of information. Visa EB-1A is for talented people in the following categories: business, science, education, sports, and arts. We have 10 criteria, out of which 3 needs to be proved. This visa gets 3 distinct stages of analysis by the immigration officer. The first stage is objective, the second stage is subjective, and the third stage is the overall merits. Let's talk in short about each of them. When the officer objectively analyzes the petition, he first looks if we satisfy at least 3 criteria out of the 10. This is so, then he moves on to the subjective stage. At the subjective stage, the officer looks at all the evidence that we produced, all the newspapers, all the magazines, all the awards, all the publications. He analyzes the depth of those evidence, and he looks for evidence that you got at the top of your field. What's the top of the field? Nobody really knows, but you must be in a few percent at the very top of those people who represent this expertise of this profession, at least in your country. You don't have to be internationally recognized, although it's always a good thing to do, but you must be at least recognized in your country. So if you're from Italy, or if you're from Argentina or Brazil, you gotta be an expert in a field that your country recognizes. And the third stage is the overall merit and your benefit for the United States of America. The immigration officer needs to see how you're gonna apply your talent in the United States of America and if it's gonna do any good to the country. So these 3 stages are pretty much distinct. But let's talk about one of the most important stages, the first stage, where we need to prove at least 3 criteria out of the 10. I'm not going to talk about all the criteria equally. I'm going to talk more about those that we work mostly with, but I'm going to touch on all of them. Just for the past 2 months, we got about 10 green cards in this category, and the talents are so spread out in the spectrum of professions, I'm just amazed. We got green cards for athletes like a judoka girl from Russia. We got 2 green cards for 2 tennis players from Ukraine. We got a green card for a taekwondo fighter from Russia. We got green card for the businessman from Kazakhstan. We got a green card for the marketing specialist from Russia, and many, many more, including the beauty industry, where if you're a master of permanent makeup, you can also get a green card, which we got a few times in my career. Now, let's discuss the criteria one by one and see what's going to happen. Criteria number 1 is the prizes and awards. The classic understanding of this criteria is that you participate in some event, in some competition, in accelerator, in a hackathon, whatever it may be, with a group of people or individuals from at least all over the country or maybe internationally compete and participate for prizes, for winning. So if you got the winning prizes in those national competitions, you probably satisfy criterion number 1. However, other ways you can satisfy this criteria. For example, if you're a scientist, and remember that STEM people are in favor for the United States right now. Who is STEM people? Scientists, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? So those professions, those fields are in favor. If you fall within the STEM category, it's a green light for you across all visas. So for example, if you're a scientist and you were making a speech at the Congress or at the conference and your document, and you were chosen to do this based on your publication on your article. So this alone could be an award and a prize, although there is no classic competition where there's a jury and there is and they pick the points for you and stuff like that. So this is an alternative way. Or for example, if you're a businessman, you have a startup and some investor wants to invest $100,000 in your startup, this also could be deemed as an award or a prize. Or other ways from the government to recognize nationals of that country is a very good way to show the prizes or rewards for this first criterion. Number 2. You are a member of a professional association which admits people mostly for their achievements, and those who actually makes the decision on admission of new people are also experts recognized in the nation. Stanislav, all right, there's a bunch of words, professional association, what actually that means. Let's say it's a scientific association. In order for that association to qualify for the second criterion is the following. They have bylaws or other documents that regulate this organization, which state that in order to become a member of this association, you have to have, for example, 10 publications, you gotta have nominations in the conferences, and you gotta have 2 fully completed projects in your field in physics and mathematics and things like that. So when I hear those, this is very good for us, because now we can make a very good argument that this association admits only people who achieved something in their career. And this is only the first sub-criterion. And the second sub-criterion is that the group or a person, whoever makes a decision on your admission to the association, must be also an expert on a national level, right? So again, if we go back to this scientific organization, let's say in France, you submit your application to the organization, and the actual group of experts who are recognized in France as the experts in their scientific field makes the decision on your application, right? So we have 2 sub-criteria: the bylaws that accept you for achievement, and a person or a group of people who are experts who make the decision for you to get in, right? So once we get that, you get 2 criteria met. Number 3, you are judging or you are a referee of your peers, of other professionals in the field. And again, the classic way is there is a competition of a national level, and you are invited as an expert to make a determination who won and who didn't win. So if this is the case, and this is a prestigious competition on a national level that may be happening annually or semi-annually, that's been going for maybe a long time. Sometimes I can make a good argument if it happened only one time. If it's national or international, there's a good sponsors, there is good press coverage of this event. There's a bunch of factors we need to consider. So if you're invited on a panel of the judges or just by yourself to make the determination who won, this is good for this criterion. However, there are other alternative ways to satisfy this criterion also. For example, if you do critiques on publications of other scholars, of other people who try to publish, and they ask you to review and revise their work and create some critiques on it in a writing form, this by itself could satisfy this criterion also. And of course, the easiest example in this criterion would be if you're a sport referee and you judge the sport competitions of the national level. That's pretty much the easiest example I can give you. Number 4, press about you and your work. Don't mix it up your own publication. This is a separate criterion. In criterion number 4, this is the press about you written by other people, by authors, by journalists, by whoever. So you must be in the highlights of this article, and this article must speak about you as an expert in the field and about your projects and your work and things that related to your expertise and your talent. There's certain things that must be satisfied in those articles. Number 1, there must be a title. Number 2, there must be a date of the publication. And number 3, and most importantly, there must be an author, the journalist's name who actually published this article about you. The article must be published in a major media in your country or internationally, or in the professional media. How we determine which one is professional, which one is mass media, is as follows. The major media, I'm looking at the number of unique visitors to the website. And why I'm talking about website, because most of the news and newspapers are now digital. So we're looking at the number of people who actually visit the website to read the news on this new newspaper and magazine. It must be a lot of people visiting this website relative to other news portals in your country. For example, if you're from France, if the number of visitors is 10 million a month, that could be enough. But if it's 1 million, it's probably not. However, if you're from Ireland, 1 million a month could be probably more than enough to satisfy mass media sub-criteria. If it's a professional media, then we'll look at the audience who reads these newspapers or magazines. We don't care about how many people read them. The only thing we care is who exactly reads those materials. There must be, for example, if it's for business people, it's business people, developers, marketing, and everybody who's related to this field. If it's a scientific magazine, the scientists read it, and so on. So this is the fourth criteria. Number 5, your significant contribution to the field. This has 2 sub-criteria. This must be innovation, something new, and this must have some effect on the field overall. If you created something new, a method, a patent, you wrote a book, you have your unique approach, you have your online courses, you have your methods, whatever it is in the science, in business, and sports. If you created something new, that's first sub-criterion. The second sub-criterion is that it must affect the entire field you're in overall. If you created an association in your field, and this is the first association, or it's the first format of such association for the professionals in the field, and it's successful, it creates events, it sponsors events, it brings people together, creates educational materials, and it goes on and on and on, has sponsors. So there you go. It affects the entire industry because you're bringing professionals together. If you wrote a book, which is a unique format. No one wrote such a book before. People read it, people use it, people quote it. Now we can show that it affects the entire industry. I will add to this criterion that this one is probably one of the hardest to prove in the entire 10 criteria that we have. Number 6, your critical or leading role in an organization with high reputation. What's the difference between critical and leading? A leading role is for management, it's for those who lead the organization. So if you're at the top management, or you're at the executive position, or you are at the executive level, then you're having a leading role. If you do some work for organization that impacts this organization, that's probably a critical role. Sometimes it's a hybrid, sometimes it's clearly one or the other. And also, this organization, this business, this association must have a high reputation. How do we prove a high reputation? And it's very important to understand that high reputation is within the industry. Maybe there is some IT company that I never heard of, my 35 employees never heard of, and probably most of the people in the world. But in IT industry, everybody knows about this company, or the certain segment of people know about the services of this company. That's one of the ways. How do we prove the reputation? The company has prizes and awards, thank you letter from the government. It could sponsor some events, it could organize some events, it may have press coverage, or it's just, famous overall, everybody knows about it. If we talk about companies like Google, Facebook, we don't have to prove the reputation. It's like it's in the air. It doesn't have to be big, it could be small, but it needs to be famous within the field in your profession. If you led this organization in a management position or executive position, or you did something for this company, it might be your employer, or it might be a third company that you never worked for, but you did something for them, then we can show a critical or leading role. For example, if you're a business coach and you have your own courses, you have your own program, and this company invited you to deliver those courses to the employees, and you did that, and after that they increased their profit by 5% of a big company, it's a lot of money. So we can prove your critical role for this company. Or if you're in the same company, a business consulting company, which does consultations to other businesses, and you built this company, or you led the department, or you were in executive role, then we can show the leading role for this company. So it's either or. Number 7, if you're talented, show me your money. This is very important criterion for business people, right? I've never filed a business petition for O1A visa or for EB-1A without showing the income. I know, in some countries, sometimes it's hard to show that you legally make your money, although you do. Make sure that before you file your petition, you get paid significantly more than other professionals in your field. What's significantly more? I would say 2-3 times, depending on your industry, on the scale of your country. We're not talking about the states in your country, because you could be from Ghana, you could be from Nigeria or India. It doesn't matter. This is the scale of your country, and we need to show either you get a paycheck that's significantly more than everybody else of a similar professionals, of similar experts, or you are hired to do projects for the contracts that are significantly more than others, right? So it's either or, but they pay for your services. It also could be your own company that pays you for the services. Hey, this is the easiest way to show that you get paid significantly more, right? Am I right or not? This criterion is very clear. Number 8, your own publications. And again, this is a separate criterion. Don't mix it up with the major press covering you. Publications is something that you wrote and has an academic nature or scientific nature, and it was published either in some scholar platform that people can look at and cite your work and things like that, or it could also be published in a major or professional media. So again, it's your own work, and it's either published in a specific professional platforms for scientists, or it's published in the major media. When it's published in the major media, it doesn't have to have all these features of classic publications like footnotes and citations and specific word choice and terminology. Although it could be, right? But it's not necessary so. It must definitely have the graphs, the tables, statistics, the numbers, and data from other sources. So if it looks more or less academic or scientific, this is probably good. The immigration officers look at this with favor. For you, for STEM people, publications is like almost a must. You do a great job. We file a lot of petitions for IT people, for coders, for scientists, and you know, the publications is the way to go. All right, so these are the 8 criteria I spoke about. These are the most important, the most famous. We also have 2 for art, and this is the showcase, the galleries, some other mediums where artists can show their work. This is number 9. So if you're a musician, if you're a sculpturist, if you're an artist, whoever you are, if your work is being displayed and people go and look. And by the way, we have a few NFT petitions, NFT applications. So if you're an NFT artist, hey, we'll take you and we'll get you a green card if you satisfy those criteria. And number 10 is also for art, more for television and movies, is the high ratings and good critics and recognition in the field of art for those who are involved. So these are the 10 criteria that we have to satisfy 3 of them. However, not everybody knows there is an 11th criteria, and this is bonus for you guys. This criteria is alternative to whatever else we have. So there's a lot of new professions and new things in the world that does not fall within the classic understanding of profession, and there is certain recognitions of those things which do not fall within the regular criteria. So we can use an alternative criterion to prove that you have recognition in something that's not readily recognized. And this I says on a case-by-case basis. If you guys think if you fall within at least 3 criteria that we discussed in this video, please follow down below this video, find the link with the questionnaire that I prepared for you, fill it out with a lot of detail as you could, and I will give you a free analysis of your case, something that other attorneys would charge you $300 and tell you this is a consultation. So please go ahead, do this. I can't wait to get your applications and analyze them, and then to see you at the immigration planning. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, press the like button, press the bell button so you don't miss my future videos. And this was Stanislav Shamayev, the lawyer of your future. Your future begins here. Good luck.